Hi, I'm Jules from Fast Car, and here are our top detailing tips and tricks. If you've got a good ceramic coating on your car or some really good protective wax, you can actually dry your car with water. I know that sounds mad, but let me show you how. So take your attachment off your hose and literally run it down the panel slowly on a low flow, and it dries it off. Any detailer will tell you the less contact you make with your paint, the better. But what do you do when it comes to drying the car? Well, you can get these pet dryers or car paint dryers and you just blow over them, but they're quite expensive. But I saw a hack the other day with someone using a leaf blower. So let's give it a go. Well, that didn't work, did it? In fact, it had the opposite effect and put a load of rubbish onto the car. Not ideal. Now, get yourself a proper car dryer, but if they're too expensive, just use your trusty old drying towel. Cheaper, quicker, better. Here's a little hack for you. If you want to give your carpets a deep clean and get all that deep-rooted dirt up and out. Grab yourself your Orbital polisher, or if you haven't got one of these, one of those dodgy-looking massage guns, you know the type, and your Hoover, and do this. As you can see, that definitely worked. But one little tip, if you're going to do your footwells, make sure you do them first. You don't want all that dust flying across a clean interior. Here's an oldie but a goldie. Now, if you just finished claying your car and you want to check that you've got all the imperfections off before you hit it with a machine polisher, use an old cigarette packet or a sweet packet, because we don't endorse smoking, but we do endorse sweets. And all you do is simply grab the plastic and rub your finger over it, and it highlights any of those imperfections you can't see. It is crazy how this works, but it does. Give it a go at home. So it may feel smooth to the touch, but as soon as you put the packet on your fingers and you rub over the same area, you will feel those imperfections. So once you've highlighted where all those high points are, you can hit it again with a clay bar and just make sure you can get all those contaminants out. And the bonus is, at the end of doing that, got a nice packet of sweets to eat. I love my furry friends, but I don't love the pet hair they leave in the back of my car. Now, here's a few hacks to getting rid of them. The hair, not the dogs. Most people think, well, we just use a Hoover, but on this sort of cheaper sort of carpet, the hairs get really intertwined with the fabric and they just don't come out. So what you could use is a lily brush. Now, these are great, but they're about 15 quid, so quite expensive. But here's a few alternatives. If you don't want to spend the money on a lily brush, just use a squeegee. Now, that's where the idea came from, so let's see if it works. So there you go, very similar results there. That's about 15 quid, that's about £1. And you've got a bigger surface, so you can actually do it quicker than that. Say the lily brush does work slightly better, but what a great alternative. And there's a couple of other little ones I want to try out too. Another two methods I've seen going around on the internet is using a pumice stone, traditionally used for getting dead skin off your feet. This is Joe's one. Or just a normal honeycomb sponge. So let's give it a go. First up, the honeycomb sponge. So it does actually work to a certain degree, but it's nowhere near as good as the squeegee. So let's get onto that pumice stone. So that definitely doesn't work. I even tried it wet because it was leaving more dirt than it was picking up. So yeah, that's a myth. Pumice stone, no good for getting rid of dog hair. But what is good is this squeegee, a quid. You can't go wrong. Brilliant. Do you have dull, misted up headlights? Well, there's a couple of hacks going around on YouTube of one using toothpaste and then the other using baking soda and a lemon. Let's give them a go. First up, lemon and baking soda. All you do is pour a bit onto the lemon, like this, and then start rubbing it in. I'm a little bit disappointed to say that has actually worked, but let's see if the toothpaste is better. Again, dead simple. Stick a bit of your toothpaste onto a microfiber and then work your way in. Well, the toothpaste hasn't worked as well as the lemon and baking soda, so I better finish the other side with a baking soda. So we've given both those methods a go, but there's a better solution than both of them. And if you're a car guy, you're going to have a bottle of polish in your garage. So use that, you're going to get better results. But if you want the very best results, you're best off having them wet sanded and then covered in lacquer. So if you regularly wash your car, you know you go through a lot of microfiber cloths and they get dirty. Instead of buying new ones each time, because that get expensive, you can wash them. But there's things you should do and should definitely not do. The first big no-no is using washing powder. You don't want to use that because if any of those little granules of powder don't dissolve in the wash, it's actually going to get caught up in your microfiber cloth and then could potentially cause swirl marks in your paint. So what you really want to look for is a liquid detergent, and one that doesn't have any fabric softener in it. It's just not needed and actually affects the use of the cloth. Now, I'd say wash them at around about 30 degrees. And the last big no-no is sticking them in the tumble dryer. Don't do that. Leave them to hang to dry. So you've just finished hoovering your car out, but you want those lovely stripes like professional detailers do. Well, it's really easy to do. This is how. Now, this won't work on all carpet. It has to be quite good quality carpet with a thick pile. Now, it's literally about pulling your hoover one way and then the other, but it's got to be a good quality hoover. Now, if you haven't got the best, just use a brush and it works in the same principle. It's about rubbing the fabric one way and then back the other. So if you're using a brush, I find the easiest technique is to brush all the fibres one way first, like that, and then choose where you want to start the first stripe, put it down and pull it back to the opposite way that you've just brushed them. Again, repeat. Now, if you want even more definition, just give it a little misting of some water beforehand. Obviously you don't want to saturate it, but it just gives that much more crisp line. So there you go, our top detailing tips and tricks to try at home. Remember, if you've enjoyed this video, to like, subscribe, comment and share. Right, I'm off to go and put these back in the car.